I've been talking about Hoffman boots for a very long time. You guys know that I'm a huge fan of this company. And it's not just the great products that they make. It's the story behind the company and the people that run it. This generational family of shoemakers right here in North Idaho make some of the best hunting boots and pack boots and lineman boots and all your boot needs right in one place at hoffmanboots.com. For us hunters, I highly recommend the Explorer. And I don't care if you're running in the 6-inch or the 8-inch or the 10-inch. Personally, I love my 8-inch Explorers. They've got the Vibram sole. They are totally waterproof. There's no break-in period. Guys, you can't go wrong with Hoffman boots because you get all that without breaking the bank. So check them out at hoffmanboots.com and use promo code all caps lock Huntsman10 at checkout for 10% off and find out why I have been wearing my Hoffman boots for years and years. Don't be one of those people that have it in their mind that Savage Arms is the same firearms that your grandpa was running around with 40 years ago. It's not. Big game hunting rifles that you can count on. I love my Savage firearms. I have got the Savage 110 Hunter, and my daughter is pretty happy with this 110 Apex Hunter XP. The AccuTrigger is a really interesting little piece to this firearm, and it's a new piece of technology that if you've never tried one, you should, because it'll make you more accurate. It's a much easier, higher quality firearm than anything else I've got out there, and I've got a lot of firearms, guys, and so if you're in the market for a new hunting rifle, make sure you visit savagearms.com, because I promise you're going to find something that is accurate, easy to handle, easy to use, long range, functional, just a high-quality weapon that you could take to the field and have a lot of confidence that when the time comes, you've got that Savage backing you up and you're going to be notching a tag. Check it out, savagearms.com. Let them know the Western Huntsman sent you. Thanks, guys. There exists a threat, from anti-hunting groups to politicians trying to give our land away, and we won't stand for it. Those vast western landscapes provide the space for our wildlife to thrive and a place for hunters and anglers to fuel the fire that sparks their soul. In this show, we share our love of hunting, fishing, and conservation. Here, we provide the foundation to meet these threats through passion and the grit of the American outdoorsman. Welcome to the Western Huntsman Podcast. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of the Western Huntsman Podcast. This is Jim Huntsman, your host, coming at you from the Broken Town studio and brought to you by Eastman's Hunting Journals. I've got my pal, smiles and all, Mike Costello, on, who is now, if you guys have listened for a while, I think this is like the third or fourth time you've been on, brother. The legend of Mike Costello lives on. That's what I'm saying.
The legend of that's big. I cannot listen to your intro without smiling.
The music part?
The energy, like, you know, just because you're smiling when you say it, like the energy that you put into your intro.
I get excited, man. This is fun stuff.
Yeah, it's awesome. And the fact that you've got a relationship with Eastman's now is so cool.
Yeah, they're a good group of dudes. I did just get an ominous text from Reekers. He's like, call me this afternoon regarding this latest episode you put out. And I'm like, oh man, what did I say? I might be in trouble. No, I'm just but
whoops.
I'm sure it's nothing, but they're it's working out. It works out good, man. Eastman's is they've got a long history and I was a kid reading Eastman's magazine, so it's cool for me. But yeah. So Mike, you are now fully with Howl for Wildlife, huh?
Mostly.
Mostly, huh?
Yeah.
When you're not
like
hunting.
In terms of, when I'm not hunting or looking at real estate stuff, not trying to find a piece of dirt to rehab, for critters. I'm diving in like full strength into the wildlife, the hunting as a mechanism for wildlife management mechanism, like diving in full speed on that. And Howl is, I think, Howl's just so good at it. Like Howl for wildlife is so good at giving hunters and even non-hunters who care about, hunting rights and conservation, giving people a place where they can have like a fast, effective, efficient, engagement with decision makers, whether it be a commission or a Senate committee or something like that. Anything that's going to affect hunting policy and even, public lands access, we can get involved in and really direct energy to and have positive outcomes.
I feel like anybody that listens to this show knows who Howl is. And so, we've talked about Howl a few times on this program, whether with you or whether with other people. And we've talked about, I've had opinions as to what action steps need to take place to actually move the needle. And I think that it's one of the tools that we need out there. I don't think that like there is one solution, right, Mike? And like there's a like this myriad of solutions that we need to come up with. And Hal has kind of transformed over the years, and I feel like the effectiveness of what you guys, because it's pretty new, right? What is Hal, like 3 years old now?
From actually being out, 2 years.
Is it two?
Years.
Is it only
Yeah.
two? Okay.
2 years.
Why is it, man?
It was like January of 2022 that Howl really came on the scene with the Action Center, and it was the first big issue that Howl really dove in on was the second attack on hunting bears in California. The
bear hunt.
And everybody's like, even California's, you're going to lose bear hunting. Told you so. Like, you're going to lose it. HSUS is going to win. The commission's in their back pocket, all this stuff. And at the time I didn't know Charles, who created Howl, but we were working in parallel on, like, we've got to activate the base. We've got to activate the individual hunter to show up being, email, call, and literally physically show up in the commission meetings. Because that isn't what we'd been doing. Like, the reason we always lose, quote, always lose. We don't always lose, but the reason we feel that way is because we're often not there as a community, as individuals. And so, Charles released Howl version, 1.0. I think it was in January or February of 2022, and that's when we piled in. We, being people nationwide, were able to speak through the Action Center there to the commission, with emails, with calls, and we won. Like we won resoundingly with the unanimous vote from the commission here in California against this HSUS petition to ban bear hunting. Since then,
I don't even know if it's been really brought up in California since then. I'm sure it will again at some point, because the anti-hunting movement, they don't like to take breaks.
No, they don't go away.
They don't go
somewhere
away.
else.
Yeah,
they go somewhere else, but they don't go away.
They just refocus somewhere else. It's like they're like toddlers, man. They'll throw a tantrum there, and then when that doesn't work, they go find another reason to throw a tantrum. And so, and so, like, God, I can't believe that was 2022. Why is it, like, I think about,
it may have been 21. It's possible. I lose track of time. So if it was 21, I will be happy to be corrected.
It's just weird. Like, I think of things that I did in 2015, and it seems like 2 weeks ago. And like
the 90s were just a decade ago, right?
Right. I know. Yeah. Like 12 years ago, it was 1996. I don't know. It's crazy.
Tell me you're old without telling me you're old.
I know. It's so crazy to even think, like, just the way time moves as you get older, and the way it just ebbs and flows. And just, my grandpa said it best when I joined the Marines. He's like, man, your time in the military, it's going to go by so slow because you've got this end of enlistment date you're looking at, and you're like counting down the days when you're in. And then he's like, then you're going to get out and the years are just going to tick by, brother. And man, he was so right it was like one of the most prolific premonitions I've ever heard from somebody. And so, Anyway, um, I don't need to complain about being old here. What I was hoping you'd do before we really kick this off is, everybody for obviously anybody that doesn't know what Howl for Wildlife is, jump on howlforwildlife.org. They are an action center, an organization designed to really like what the way I look at it is if there's an issue, let's say spring bear in California, they're able to get out to the masses and make it so like when we lose a spring bear season like they did in Washington, it's not a surprise, right? People know about stuff now, and they're able to get that information out and also have the masses, us hunters, get involved without having to put an extraordinary time and effort and money and stuff like that into it, and it's an effective way. So like with that said, that was my real hillbilly way of describing Howl. If you want to add anything to that, but mostly what I want to do is kind of reflect on what do you think Howl has done very successfully over the last couple of years that really moved the needle.
I think the Action Center is the biggest needle mover. We've had wins. There's been literally dozens, probably 40 or 50 different action items hosted there. Mostly positive outcomes. How the big ones, of course, the protecting bear hunting in California was massive.
Massive, yeah.
We played a part in driving nationwide engagement and advocacy towards the Senate committee that was sitting on the mountain lion hunting ban in Colorado last year. And we were able to direct thousands of email messages, which I think it's important when an email message comes through our action center, it doesn't have the Howl fingerprint on it. The recipient, the senator or the commissioner that receives that email, it comes from you, Jim Huntsman. It doesn't come from us.
Yeah.
And so it's it's also set up so that the messages can be very authentic and unique with every one of them.
So basically,
you can edit your own. You can edit it. You can put your own value statement in there.
And
so
to add to that,
we played a part there.
Yeah, and Mike, what I like about that, to add to that, because like if you're a legislator and all of a sudden you get 200 emails and they all say the same subject line and the same, from howl.org or whatever, that a lot of that is just going to go right to the delete file or whatever. Yeah. That's what's nice about the way you guys have done that is it makes it look like it's coming from multiple different people. And I've heard,
and it is. It doesn't just look like
because it is.
It is.
It actually is.
That's what's important.
So, no, that's cool. Sorry, I kind of cut you off there.
No, and then like there's a smaller one that it was Vermont or Maine. It had to do with the use of live rabbits in coursing trials for dogs. And in the anti-hunting industry, a lot of them go after anything dog-related. Like it's abusive to train your dog to chase animals. Well, dogs have been doing this since the beginning of time.
That's what they do, man.
They like it. I mean, look at the wolves; they like it too, right? And so that's another rabbit hole. But I think it was perceived that this legislation, which would eliminate the ability to use live rabbits in coursing trials, was going to just sail right on through. Like who would ever protect this activity, right?
Yeah.
And we had, between 1,000, 2,000 authentically different emails from people nationwide communicate to the committee, the legislative committee that was holding that bill, that they believed in it, supported it, and didn't want this legislation to go through. And it was like 10 times as much advocacy in support of or in opposition to that bill that they expected. And they're like, maybe this isn't a winner. Like maybe this legislation to outlaw the use of live hares in coursing trials isn't such a good idea. And they tabled it. So this was voices nationwide coming to the protection of a very small segment of the community in a niche area of the community that we thought shouldn't be picked on.
Yeah.
And Howl really, I think the message at Howl is becoming more crystallized. And it's that, trapping, hunting, angling, whether it's bow hunting, crossbow, long range rifle, all methods of take have a place. Hound hunting, hunting with
Hmm.
hounds, using dogs in hunting, whether it's retrieve, tracking, pursuing, etc. All of these methods of take have a place on the landscape. And the only group of people that should be deciding which method to take is employed and allowed is the biologists and the commissions that are charged with the responsibility of maintaining opportunity while maintaining sustainable populations of critters. It shouldn't be the ballot box, and it shouldn't be the legislature 99% of the time.
Are you sure, Mike? I mean, I always thought that, your average hipster hanging out at Starbucks has a lot of experience, knowledge, and a wide berth of
They
information
they
at their
feel that
fingertips.
they do. They
Yeah, yeah.
feel that they
They
feel
should
that they
manage
do.
wildlife.
Yeah.
Just like I should be a downtown Seattle city planner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Trust the science unless you feel a certain way about the fuzzy
unless you don't
critters.
agree with it. Yeah.
Right, unless you don't
Yeah.
agree with it.
Man, I
Yeah.
gotta like on a side note, I've got the Howl website pulled up here on my right, on my
Yeah.
screen to the right here, and then it's got just a handsome fella of a bear right at the top there. You've got that big
Does it
smoking
look like
huge
this bear?
bear. Yeah, well, no,
It's
he's
not the same.
darker. Nope, he's
Okay.
jet black bear.
Okay.
And then I've got your bear behind you on the screen, that big fella. And I've got this little guy behind me that's on the wall. So now I'm like, I just want to talk about spring bear hunting,
You
man.
want to talk
Let's talk. It's coming.
Jim's triggered. Jim's triggered. Let's talk about bear hunting.
My
Oh, we
ADHD
all
is
love
kicking
bear
in.
hunting. We all, it's funny, like going down the bear hunting rabbit hole. I, and this will translate into the next thing I want to talk about.
Okay.
The anti-hunters always say, "Oh, bear's not edible," and it's like the entire reason, like bears at one time were rare in North America. Like the humans in North America did actually get close to eliminating black bears in North
Yes.
America. We made them rare, and we almost extirpated them from North America because of market hunting. Because people would hunt bears, which are now considered inedible by the anti-hunters. People would hunt bears to take the meat down into all the sophisticated bougie restaurants in San Francisco and
Yep.
Portland and Seattle
Because
and,
that's what
and
was
Salt Lake
popular.
City. It's
Yeah.
like bear was on the menu right there with
Yeah.
elk, and so it was one of the core meats on the menu in the 1800s and early 1900s because it was market hunted to
Yeah.
put on the menu. That's the only time and the only reason bears have ever been considered at risk is because of market hunting. So
That
now they
was
say it's not edible. It's like it's fantastic meat.
Yeah, it's great. It's probably, depending on what you do with it, it's my favorite wild game meat. And in the 1800s, that was the case. People didn't really hunt deer for the venison; they hunted deer for the hide. Back in those days, and their preference, not that they wouldn't eat the deer, but their preference was bear meat. Even
Yeah.
even the frontiersmen and people settling the West, that was the thing. The bear meat
Yeah.
was kind of that premier meat to have, and deer was just kind of a, if you can't get a bear, deer will suffice.
Right. And bear fat, man. Rendered bear fat is
and everything you could
amazing.
do. It's an animal that just there's such a resource.
Yeah.
And honestly, Mike, like, everybody kind of knows my podcast because of School of September and talking about September archery elk season. And is that my favorite season? Absolutely it is. I love screaming bull elk, and I like to launch arrows at them. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But man, it is not far behind when I talk about bear hunting. Bear hunting has, and this hasn't always been the thing. I'm kind of new to the bear hunting world. I've only been doing it 5 or 6 years, and it really is one of my favorite hunts. I love spring bear. I love fall bear. I don't care if I'm baiting. I don't care if I'm doing a little spot and stock. I'd love to go with a houndsman one day, because they could be really selective, and I just love it all. I love watching the bears, man, and that's why baiting's so much fun. But anyway, I don't mean to turn.
Well, that's the cool thing. I think that's the other thing that folks don't understand is we go into the woods and seeing the animals like is a high point whether you have a tag in your pocket or not,
Hmm.
whether you're taking a shot at that animal trying to harvest it or not. Like seeing them and studying them and watching their behavior is always so great. Like it's not just go out and spray and pray, just
Yeah.
shoot them all. Like that's just it's just not what the hunting ethic is anymore. And so I think that's an interesting character trait that we've got that not enough people understand is that like if anybody wants critter success, it's the people that are hunting the critters.
Yeah.
Like we
Yeah.
want abundant, like I want there to be plenty of bears. I also want there to be plenty of deer, plenty of elk, and
Hmm.
so to a certain degree we're rooting for the underdog and the prey species a lot, but bears are fantastic. But
Isn't it?
about the inedible thing, there's an initiative coming up in Colorado, which is why I hit you up because I think there's something that everybody that hunts in North America needs to be tuned into and get behind to support. There's an initiative in Colorado this year. It's expected to be on the ballot in November. The leading headlines to get this initiative passed are about trophy hunting and about the fact that mountain lion is, quote, inedible.
Can can I want to jump in right here real quick
Yeah,
because I want to get into the meat of this initiative 91. No pun intended with that, by the way.
that was that was that was slick.
I'm not that smart. That was a total
uh,
accident, man. I wish my mind worked
you
that
should
fast,
write
but
that.
you made mention of every hunter in North America and why it's important that they understand this, and I couldn't agree more, man. Because the thing that we're talking about with the in respect to Initiative 91 in Colorado, that is essentially a ban on mountain lion and bobcat hunting, and the way they're going to phrase it through trophy hunting and also running it through ballot box, biology, whatever we call that. The thing that really strikes me that why every hunter in North America should be aware of this is 20 years ago in Colorado, it would have been laughable to suggest that something like this would have even been brought up.
Mhm.
Okay, we expect this kind of stuff. No offense to you, Mike, you're in California, but
Yeah,
we expect that kind of stuff in California, right? We
yeah,
expect this kind of stuff in New Jersey and New York.
yeah,
We don't expect this kind of stuff out of Colorado. And I don't even I think possibly saying 20 years might be even too far of a reach. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. Colorado has not been a blue state for very
yeah,
long anyway. And
yeah,
so um I want that to be strikingly obvious to the listeners that think, oh, well, if we're going to just talk about a Colorado issue, I don't want to listen in
yeah,
kind of thing. I maybe reconsider because, again, I grew up going to Colorado. I lived right next door in Utah when I was a kid in the 80s and 90s and whatnot. We'd go to Colorado, and it was just this normal cultural hunting place, right?
yep,
The fishing and hunting was in agriculture. This was top of mind stuff.
yeah.
And the Denver Broncos have always sucked. But oh no, who said? Did you say that, Mike? Or did I
Is
say
that
it?
is that is that relevant? But
No, it's not. I don't
I
even.
mean,
I don't even watch football,
it's
man.
not relevant, but it's important to you, so let's keep it.
It's not. It's not. It's actually not. I don't watch football, but I any chance I get to make fun of a team, just so everybody knows I'm equally picking on everybody,
That's funny.
I
Good.
make fun of whatever football team. So anyway, no, the point is seriously, 15, 20 years ago, the
Mhm.
thought of any kind of initiative in the state of Colorado to ban hunting
Yeah,
of mountain lions and bobcats, that would have been just absolutely ludicrous, unheard of, and it wouldn't have gone anywhere.
yeah,
And so here we are when we talk about, don't think that this can't come to your state, and because you live in Texas or Montana or Idaho or Illinois, this isn't relevant to you. It certainly is. So
yeah. So the organizations I just collectively call them the anti-hunting industry. I
yeah,
refuse to give them the blessing of calling them animal rights activists. Because if you're an animal rights activist, you care about more than one species. You care about you should care about human participation in the landscape. And you should care about the fact that one mountain lion kills 30 some odd deer a year. Like so, if you're an animal rights activist, you're going to see both sides of the deal. the anti-hunting industry, we know that they go after predators most commonly. They have said in Colorado and about Colorado that they want to go after the low-hanging fruit, which is go after the predator hunting, the mountain lion hunting.
Mm-hmm.
And then after going after the low-hanging fruit, they want to chop off the branch, then they want to chop down the tree, they want to take down the whole forest. And what they're talking about is they want to go after one method of take or one species that's harvested and managed, and then go after the next one and the next one and the next one. So the anti-hunting industry has clearly stated and demonstrated that their intent is to remove human participation from nature and remove hunting altogether. So this Prop 91 it's going to be a ballot box initiative that is expected to be on the calendar, on the ballot in November. And the proponents of this initiative have gotten it through after about 4 months of delay that our side injected into the process. We got about 4 months of delay. I'll speak to that in a minute, but they're out there collecting signatures on it now, and they have to collect about 180,000 signatures in Colorado to get that onto the ballot. But the crazy thing is their lead headlines are going to be focused on that mountain lion is inedible, which is a lie. And not only is it inedible in the community that hunts mountain lions frequently, that's their favorite meat.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I know a lot of people that swear by mountain lion meat.
Yeah.
And you know, it really is.
So it's a lie.
Meat.
So they have to lie. And they're lying to the non-hunting public that's
they always
easily
do.
swayed. So they're lying on that. And they're using this trophy hunting slogan, and they've manipulated the word trophy hunting to be something bad. And it's not, everybody envisions, oh yeah, like, hacking tusks off of an elephant to leave the carcass to die in Africa. Somehow that, global poaching visual, international poaching visual has been applied to big game hunting in North America, which is asinine, because the hunting of mountain lions is one of the most regulated hunts in Colorado. They've got a tremendous CPW's got a tremendous, army of biologists that are involved in all of the big game species, and truly want to see success for all of the big game species, including mountain lions. But they're going after this there, and it's not, we talked about this is important for all hunters. I've never hunted in Colorado. I have points there. I think everybody in North America that hunts is a current, past, or future hunter of big game in Colorado. Like, who doesn't aspire to high mountain, high alpine hunting of mule deer in Colorado? Maybe not everybody, but talk about an iconic. There's some iconic experiences that relate to hunting in Colorado. Mm-hmm. And if we lose this there, Colorado is the mule deer factory of North America. If we lose the ability to manage mountain lions through hunting, which is a sustainable mechanism, the mule deer population is going to take the biggest hit. Domestic livestock, domestic pets will probably take a hit. Elk will take a hit. You lose the ability to manage and harvest bobcats. Deer will take a hit there as well, as will a lot of your small game species.
And a lot of people don't think that, Mike, but have you seen that video of that bobcat that pounces on that mule deer doe and it kills her? It gets her.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's like a little bigger than a house cat, right? You don't think anything of it. And she's trying to kick him, and nope. That thing takes that deer down. It's nuts.
The cats that hunt, I mean, they're amazing. Like, I'll get, they're amazing to watch. They are the most lethal solo killers out there. They are, it's phenomenal. But yeah, bobcats take down adult does.
I think
and probably
that's
adult bucks too, but they also take down plenty of fawns.
Fawns is, I think, what the primary thing is with bobcats, but it just is. I like to point that kind of stuff out because it surprises me that does happen, and I don't think that's a norm where a bobcat's taking a full size mature deer out
Yeah.
But it can happen. It does happen. That video proves it. But there's, one thing that I really like, and I always get something out of having you on the show, Mike, that always kind of sticks with me. Like you had said something the first time you were on the show, hunting is human. And hunting is, it is a part of humanism. And I've been kind of talking about that ever since. But you've always got really sharp perspective on some of this stuff. And so one thing that you brought up is I always call it the anti-hunting movement, and you're referring to it as the anti-hunting industry.
It's an industry.
And I like that because it's so true. It's not, I mean, sure, it can be defined as a movement if you want, but it really is an industry, because I think that a lot of what they pursue is anti-human and anti-hunting, because hunting is human, right? But they generate a lot of money, and sometimes I wonder if this anti-hunting industry does they approach this bit by bit, like you've been talking about, where it's one bite at a time kind of scenario. Because if they were to be successful, let's say what's the word for that?
Well, they can't actually come out and say what they want.
Yeah, they can't come out and say what they want. And if they were somehow successful out of the blue of eliminating hunting, they'd be out of a job, right? And so it's really good insight. I just like the term industry, because it really is an industry. It's there's like multiple cottage industries out of it, and then the industry of it itself. And they
fundraise the money. Most of the money on this issue, both for the wolf initiative and for this mountain lion hunting and bobcat hunting ban in Colorado. Most of the money's coming from out of state of Colorado. This is not a homespun Colorado initiative. And this is where we as a hunting community need to realize, we think about, it's not my state, or no, it's not my species that I hunt, or no, that's not, I don't participate in that method of take, so I don't care. They leverage the fact that we view what we do, what we take, where we hunt in a very fractured or fragmented view. They fundraise nationally, and they attack locally. We think locally, and we act locally. And that's our weak spot. So that's like our weak that's our underbelly, our soft underbelly, is they can come at us that way. And this is where we need to level up the game. We need to level up the game, both through how we can be advocates for ourselves and for each other through like the Action Center. Where the Action Center on Howl doesn't work for this issue is it's going to go to the ballot box. There's no Senate committee for us to talk to. There's no commissioners to talk to on this. This is going to go to the ballot box in Colorado. And so what do we do? Like, what can I do as a Californian? What can somebody in Tennessee or Florida or Montana do to help block this and make sure that this isn't successful?
Hey, I shut my video off for just a minute. Let my internet catch up. If you guys are into shooting the copper bullets, man, I got a great deal for you. We have partnered with Barnes Bullets. They are world famous, known for that VOR TX rifle, the deadliest, most accurate hunting loads on the planet. I like this company, guys, because I have a personal connection to these guys. Down in central Utah, my dad's got this ranch, and on the way to the ranch, you drive past this Barnes Bullets factory, and it's a really cool building just kind of out in the middle of nowhere. So I know them well. These all-copper bullets provide destructive power, double diameter expansion, maximum weight retention, and devastating energy transfer, all with excellent accuracy. It's a great choice for Western big game hunters and shooters everywhere. So check them out at barnesbullets.com and let me know what you guys think. I appreciate it. You've heard my Silencer Central ads, I'm sure. And I don't know if you have reached out and contacted them yet. If you're interested in a silencer, though, man, this is the way to go. Silencer Central from the start to finish, because it's quite the process. If you've never gotten a suppressor for one of your rifles, you've got to go through and do the ATF paperwork and the background checks and all that kind of stuff. But the cool part is Silencer Central takes care of it all. It's a several-month process, and so what's cool about it is if you don't want to drop all that money right at the top end of this whole process, you can just get a hold of them and you can do like a payment plan while they're taking care of all the paperwork on the back end. I have the Banish 30, and this thing is awesome. I've never used one of these before, so I'm like learning as I go along. But what I was getting at is from start to finish, Silencer Central has been some of the most amazing people I've ever worked with through the process. They treated me like I was family, and I really appreciated it. You guys should check them out, and you can call them at 866-891-4494 or check it out at silencercentral.com. It will be worth your time, I promise. And so just to clarify, Mike, with people listening, you know, what he's saying is such as the wolves being reintroduced into Colorado was a ballot box issue. They're doing the same thing with banning this mountain lion and bobcat hunting. Can you, and that's what they're trying to do. So essentially November of 2024, when everybody goes to vote for, in Colorado, they're going to be pulling the trigger for Biden, right? Mr. Oatmeal Brains himself. And who's Mike? Somebody keeps talking shit on this show. I don't know who it is. It can't be me. No. Anyway, but at the same time they're doing that, there's going to be this little thing. I like to really break things down to a very obvious point, Mike, because I know there's people that are like me, that when somebody says, well, it's going to be a ballot box initiative, it might not hit them. So basically, when they're in the voting booth, voting for presidents and senators and all sorts of legislators and other initiatives, one of the questions is going to be, do you think we should end mountain lion and bobcat hunting? You know, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be real vague, really vague. And it'll probably have some fancy name like protect our mountain lion predators or something like that they'll hear about before getting there. So they'll think it's got this positive connotation, which it doesn't. So can you describe, Mike, what is the you'd mentioned the trophy hunting aspect of it. Can you break that down, what they're using that phrase as?
Yes. So the initial title that they wanted to use was to ban trophy hunting. And because over the last 20 years, the concept of trophy hunting has moved from being this what's now poaching, what is poaching, to any kind of North American big game hunting where you take a picture of the animal. They wanted to ban trophy hunting, and because it polls well, like in the non-hunting public, banning trophy hunting polls well because they're uninformed. And the Coloradans for Responsible Wildlife Management is the organization that's leading. They are the tip of the spear to win and defeat this initiative. They've already, by challenging the title to ban trophy hunting, they've got the title removed to where it is a little more ambiguous, which is like you talked about. But trophy hunting is still in the statute. So there's the title, then there's the nuts and bolts of the actual regulation that goes in the law. Trophy hunting is still in the statute, and they basically define trophy hunting. It outlaws trophy hunting, which is intentional pursuit or killing of mountain lions and bobcats. Well,
where do they define that? Is that like on that website?
In the law. It's in the law. And so
intentional pursuit.
Yeah. So, well, what is hunting?
Same thing.
What is fishing?
Same thing. And it's interesting.
And so they've created a statutory definition of trophy hunting, which is hunting, or it is fishing. Like if I'm intentionally pursuing bluegill, you could insert bluegill into that statute. And so there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of worries here. One of the worries is that there's now if this is approved by the voters in Colorado, you'll have in the statute, in the law, a definition of trophy hunting, which is the same as hunting. Mm-hmm. And you could very easily swap out mountain lion with bighorn sheep, with elk, with bluegill, with bass, with any animal you want. And in Colorado, there's been electeds that have already, I believe, is an elected who proposed like, hey, bighorn sheep's the state animal of Colorado. Why are we allowing them to be hunted? Maybe we shouldn't have them be trophy hunted either.
Yeah.
So like the seeds are already planted for this to be extrapolated out into other species. And once it's in the law, once it's in a legal form, written legal form in one state, it's very easy to have it go to another state.
Just
So
copy
for a
and paste.
lot of copy and paste. So for a lot of reasons, besides the fact that in principle we as a community need to support each other, and we need to support the use of hunting as a mechanism towards successful wildlife management everywhere. Besides that, if this is successful there, it's going to come to other states, and it's going to come to other species. So there's a lot of reasons for us to get behind. And I mentioned CRWM. I would love for, we were talking about Howl earlier. Howl's great. Howl's a 501c3. Howl needs money too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Howl is committed this year to directing as much funding as we can, not through Howl, but to CRWM. And this is one of the challenges with all the different NGOs that participate in the landscape here. Most of the NGOs that do fantastic work for habitat and for species are not set up to funnel money into advocacy issues.
Yeah, I agree. That's
not
been
set up for that.
Yeah, there's been a lot of discussion about that recently, especially on this show where it is not. I love the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. I love all these NGO or these organizations that do habitat work. We need them. But we've got to start taking a different approach, because they can't do anything about this other than voice their opinion, and sometimes that's not even. But
they can't for a number of reasons. One, it's not their skill set. Two, it's not their chosen advocacy. They're really good. Like, so we talk about, I don't pick on RMF. RMF is phenomenal when it comes to elk management, elk habitat, elk biology, elk relocation, all things elk. RMF is amazing at it. Howl for wildlife will never go out and buy 18,000 acres in Oregon to commit it to elk habitat. Howl can't do that. So
different missions.
So we have different missions. And so, but Howl is also, and we're in the advocacy space in terms of enabling individuals to become advocates for what they believe in, and in terms of education. But even Howl as a 501c3 is not in a position to push money over there because of the way the tax code's set up. And so the need right now is for individuals, if you want to support this issue in Colorado, is to make donations to Coloradans for Responsible Wildlife Management, because that every dollar that goes to them goes into the fight, and they've already had some great success. They've already funded the legal challenges that created a 4-month delay with this initiative. If this initiative had not had some friction put in place in October, they would have been getting their signature gathering done in the fall, in November and December, when people are out shopping like crazy, and they may have already had their signatures gathered. Now they would have to do it with 4 months less time. And so there have already been some wins at the title level, at the Supreme Court level. All this stuff goes through the Supreme Court at some point. There's been wins and delays in terms of how this is going to be presented and when, and how much time the opposition has to get their signatures on it.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes time to write checks for billboard ads and media ads and social media pop-up ads and things to put the right messaging in front of your average non-hunter, CRWM is going to write those checks, and they need a war chest.
Gotcha. They do. And they have right on their website, you can go, again, folks, savethehuntcolorado.com. I'll put that in the show notes. In fact,
Nice.
So this kind of stuff, I have to be careful, because I get so worked up over this stuff, Mike. I like,
we're gonna win. Here's the deal. We're gonna win.
But I want to talk about this trophy hunting thing for a minute. The ever evolving definition of what trophy hunting is, and like, I follow it's funny. I'll get people will DM me on Instagram. They're like, "Why are you following such and such group?" Well, because I follow these organizations amongst the let me try it out, anti-hunting industry, and I do. I follow them to see what they're posting, see what they're talking about, and it is incredulous to me that
Yeah.
they are able to even get away with saying some of the stuff that they do. Somebody, one of them posted something the other day where they're like, they're talking about trophy hunting, and I put in the comments, can somebody here please tell me what is the difference between trophy hunting and non-trophy hunting, right? And versus
Please
regular hunting.
educate me.
And
Exactly.
nobody would answer. Instead, they just attacked me. Well, you're a
Right.
hunter, obviously. So how would you define it? No, I'm asking you. I know how to define trophy hunting. It's you guys that are following this page that posted this propagated bullshit that is thinking that trophy hunting means I take my kid up on the mountain and we shoot the biggest buck we could find because that's what we're going after. And that's not what
Right.
trophy hunting is. And so please help me understand. It's just like when you're talking about ballot box biology and all these people that they're going to be coming to get these signatures to get this on the ballot, and then they're going to run all these ads and put up
Yep.
billboards and send out
Yep.
postcards to everybody's home, and they're going to talk about trophy hunting, and people are going to have, like, there was a study talking about where the populace within the United States, like 86% of them or whatever, approve of hunting if it's done for meat,
For
feel
consumption.
for
Yep.
consumption, and then that number goes way down if it says if they're just out there to trophy hunt. But yet nobody can actually describe, those people that they
No, we can
poll,
define it.
what is trophy hunting versus
No.
non-trophy hunting. And so it's just that is, I think we have failed as hunters over the last few decades,
Mm,
is fighting this, allowing this industry to define what it is that we do. We let
Yep.
somebody else define us,
Yep.
and here we are,
Yep.
where we've got this uphill battle to climb in Colorado. And I do like this Colorado for Responsible Wildlife Management. That's a great website. They even have the North American Model of Wildlife Conservation. You could print out the whole
Got some great
PDF on it. Yeah,
videos.
great
There's some
stuff.
great resources there.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
people they want people to download those videos, to share them. They want people to whatever resources are on that website, they want the hunting community to share those resources out into the non-hunting space, because there's a lot of information there and some visuals and stuff that really help underscore the value of hunting as a conservation tool. So,
Yeah,
trophy
and they have a
the average
video.
non-hunter thinks of trophy hunting as what is truly poaching.
Mm-hmm.
They think of the poachers that kill indiscriminately, take some artifact off of that animal and leave the rest to rot. Like
Yeah,
that. And the thing is we all hate that. Like, none of us are in favor of that. And that's
hunters hate
poaching
that more than anybody else.
more than anybody else. Exactly. And so my vision, hunting is human. There's a whole program coming out from Howl in the next year that is based on the hunting is human concept. And the thing that and it's based on the concept of retaking the field, retaking the arena with the non-hunting mind, the non-hunter sentiment. Like, we've abandoned that. We let the anti-hunting industry take over the mind and the sentiment of the non-hunter by defining these terms on their terms, define these words and these slogans or whatever on their
Letting
terms.
them define us. Yeah.
We know that trophy hunting is being selective. It's passing on immature animals. It's trying to take the largest, oldest male off the landscape, who is the most resource heavy, that contributes the least to the population. We know that trophy hunters pay in more than they take out because they usually eat tags. They're also paying for tags or access to hunt in ways that other people can't afford. So when you look at trophy hunting in the true sense of it, not poaching, look at trophy hunting for what's actually happening in a trophy hunting ecosystem. It's the most ecologically and economically sustainable version of hunting there is.
Yep.
That is where I want 5, 10 years from now, the average non-hunter to think of trophy hunting.
And
I
and
want
what
them to think of it as like the Olympics. That is the
how
height of excellence in hunting because you're paying in more, you're taking out less, and what you're taking out is the right one to take out of the population.
so one of the big things that troubles me, and when something that I think about a lot, I write about this, we talk about it on this show a lot, is I couldn't agree more. I've always said that we don't need to convince hunters; they're already on our side, and they already understand the thousands of years of history that is humanism, and how that connects to being a hunter. We're not going to go change the minds of the anti-hunting folks. They've got that group think that bias is kicked in. They're not open to looking at other things. So
They're either
they're not the
bought
problem.
in or they're paid for. They're
Yeah,
either bought
bought
into
on.
it or they're
Yep,
paid for.
exactly.
But then there's the
That's a
middle.
grip.
There's
It's the
like the
middle,
middle.
and that's
Yeah.
what we talk about. And it's a big group of the population. I mean, I would just guesstimate that is roughly 90% of the population of I'm speaking
Yeah.
United States.
Yeah.
Active annual tag holders is only sitting somewhere around 4% of the population. You look at people that randomly buy tags, and maybe they'll get a duck stamp or whatever. That starts going up upwards of around 10%. But the people that buy tags every year and actively hunt every year and get in trouble with their spouse every year because they spend too much time in the woods chasing deer and bear and everything else, those are the people that make up roughly 4% of the population. And so it's that 90% of those, the folks that don't. And we've talked about that a lot. So my question always comes to this: how do we reach those people? Because we don't have. You mentioned earlier, and it's a great point. They seek funding on a national level to take that money and spend it on a local issue, right? How do we replicate that, but through messaging, so that the general public, if I get in my truck right now and I drive 45 minutes away over to Sandpoint, Idaho, and I go in Walmart and I walk up to some random person that doesn't hunt, they couldn't tell me the first thing about the North American model of wildlife conservation.
Nope.
They couldn't tell me what a trophy hunt means to them. They don't know the difference. Yeah,
and why should they?
Why should it's not their thing?
Why should they? Don't care.
It's not their thing.
Like there's stuff there's. I don't follow golf. Like I couldn't tell you the first thing about golf.
Dude, I don't even know who's playing in the Super Bowl this weekend. I don't know. I don't follow football. That's why I like to make fun of football teams, and I equally bash them.
So they have no interest in caring. Yeah. But then they're forced to care because something shows up on a ballot.
Yep.
Now they're forced to care, and they're forced to
make a commercial that was one-sided.
A quick decision. Right.
Yep. So they'll see a video on YouTube going around social media that was made by Center for Biological Diversity or Carol Baskin or whatever. And my question is like, how do we combat that, and how do we reach those people? Because, and I mean in a realistic way, we can't ever expect that the average citizen non-hunter is going to fully understand the North American model and be able to define the 7 principles, of that and blah, blah, blah. We're not trying to bore them to death. But what ideas do you have and does Hal have to reach those kind of people and try to at least get them to think, okay, I saw this anti-hunting video. Here's something else that shows me there's a different side to this story, and maybe I should do some, my own critical thinking on it.
Right. So in Colorado, CRWM is gonna run a number of paid advertising mechanisms to communicate in 15 to 30-second, messages that about the value of regulated hunting to the data that the CPW gets from it. The fact that there's 20 to 25 times more mountain lions in Colorado now than there were when they first became a big game animal. Like in a regulated hunting system, you have wild success. The non-hunter, usually thinks that if an animal is trying to be protected, it's threatened, right? But actually,
Yep.
in a hunting system, so wildlife success comes from regulated hunting. That's takes 3 seconds to say. Wildlife success across numerous species takes place in regulated hunting systems. So don't take the regulations away. Don't remove the animal from that regulated hunting system. We eat the meat. 99% of big game animals in North America, you have to take the meat with you. You have to consume the meat. It has to be part of your ethic and part of your process. So identifying one side, the anti-huntingers are saying, they're saying mountain lion meat's inedible, and then there needs to be a visual of, look at these 73 recipes submitted to us by mountain lion hunters. Not only is it not inedible, it's fantastic. So we need to show visuals that identify the fact that we eat mountain lion, we eat bear, we eat elk, we eat grouse, we eat quail. Like, we eat the meats, the animals that we harvest from the landscape are edible. And then the other part of it is just there's purpose. Like, no, we're not trying to remove wolves from the landscape of North America. There's purpose in managing them, though. And then the last thing is, like, we've been doing R3 for a long time, recruit, reactivate, retain. I think we've stumbled on, and it's not I didn't stumble on it. I'm parroting what I've heard recently, but I think we stumbled on the fourth R. That's probably the most important to all of this, and that's relevance or relatability. We need non-hunters to understand the relevance of hunting on the landscape. We need non-hunters to understand, have a relatable relationship with hunting. They don't have to do it. We don't have to drag them out and make them hunters, because people are going to choose to or not, right? But if they just have an idea that they relate to, the best populations of these species exist in regulated hunting systems, then no, I cringe at it. I wouldn't do it myself, but let's keep those populations successful by having them in those regulated hunting systems.
I look at, I couldn't agree more with basically everything you just said there. There's nothing to, I always look for ways. Okay, well, how would I, come back and debate with this if I was playing devil's advocate? And I've just got nothing with that, because I don't think you can argue against it. I look at things like, the homestead community. They have managed to kind of put on this persona and get the message out there that what they do is sustainable, it's natural, it's healthy, and all these things. So, like, people generally have this positive vibe when it comes to, like, homesteaders, right? And what you were just describing with, hey, here's 73 recipes for mountain lion meat, and this is how these populations stay healthy, is through hunting, and like Idaho looks at it that way. That's how the Idaho Fish and Game. That's how they look at managing wildlife. Is wildlife management is done through hunting, right? And that's no question here. 20 years from now, that could be a totally different thing. But as of right now, that's how they look at it. And so all those good things that you said and the messaging that you're relaying, I think would be very crucial, critical, and important. And I'd love to be involved with getting that kind of message. Like, it'd be easy for me to make a video that talks about the health of the ecosystem and the habitat these animals live in, and why regulated hunting has made them this way, right? And in very much a layman's terms, so the eyes of the non-hunter doesn't glaze over. It's just a simple, quick little education. The question I have with that is, what's the delivery system? How do we get, like, if I put a video on YouTube, I could share that on my social media channels, right? So it's gonna get in front of, I don't know. I don't know how that algorithm thing works, because, like, maybe a half of my followers or something will see the link or whatever, and maybe a tenth of them are going to click on it and watch it. So we're up against this industry that has millions of dollars to put it on TV ads and things like that. Like, what about, how do hunters get a 30-second commercial for the freaking Super Bowl, right? And talk about this.
We buy it.
I know, but we're talking millions of dollars.
Well,
so how do we raise
we spend billions, large billions of dollars on all things related to hunting. We're talking about, like, for CRWM in Colorado, if every person that holds non-resident points in Colorado took the cost of a box of ammo and dedicated it to CRWM, we would probably have 5 times as much money as needed to crush this thing in Colorado. We're all gonna we're gonna drive there someday. We're buying a license. We're buying at least a small game license, right? We're buying a license. We're paying for points. I mean, heck, bighorn sheep, mountain goat points, and moose points are $100 a point in Colorado, right?
If so we're every buying hunter points, spent, what was the dollar amount you said?
What's your ammo? You 7 mm, Remington Magnum. You get $60 a box, right?
Yeah, easy.
For ammo. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we took. And if I'm a waterfowler, what's a box of shells cost? Like, what's a box of shot? Like, if we took whatever it is that we hunt with, we took the cost of a box of ammo, 1 box of ammo, and if we all dedicated that to CRWM, they'd probably have 5 times as much money as needed to defeat this in Colorado this year.
You know what I like about that?
So,
Mike? Yeah, that the box of ammo is a really good. It's not a pun, but it's a for the cost of a box of ammo, that
relatable.
Gives us more ammo against this industry that is well funded.
Yeah, send us a box of ammo. Let's fill the war chest. We need 1 box of ammo. We need a box of ammo equivalent from every hunter, which is nothing compared to the time, the gas, the clothes, the boot leather, like all that we put into it. If we choose as a community to prioritize the messaging for that 4th R, the relatability and the relevance into the non-hunting community, we'll have billboards. And this is what Howl is working on, like outside of Colorado. Howl's working on the ideas of billboards outside of Seattle. Like, Washington State is getting crushed right now. They've got a really, I'll say, corrupt. Other people say just off track. Other people say, intentionally biased commission that's really doing harm to hunting in Washington State. But if you had the commissions, they're not elected. So how do the electeds care? Well, we need to influence with the senators that approve those commissioners. We need to influence the governor who seats those commissioners. And to influence those electeds, we need the average non-hunter to know that there's a hunter in their community. I was talking to the guys at PN Wild recently, and I said, if you work at Amazon and you get in the elevator and you go up to the 14th floor and there's 200 other people working on that floor and you're a hunter, do those 200 people know that you hunt?
Yeah, you said something similar on my show a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and so that's the key. Like as an individual, you got to let your community know what your values are and what's important to you. And if they like you and they respect you, they're more likely to vote in a way that doesn't take things away from you. So there's that. But putting putting billboards in and out of these metropolitan centers that put hunting, different faces, different genders, different ethnicities, all the different types of hunters that are up that are in the community, put them up there and identify, bear meat, mountain lion meat, waterfowl. Like, there's so many different stories that we can tell. We're not telling them at scale, and we're not telling them in a way that's relatable to the general public. And so we don't need to convince them to love hunting. We need to create friction for the anti-hunting messages, which are
exactly. That's a great way to put it, Mike. That's exactly been my point for a long time. You just articulated it better than I do. We're not trying to turn the non-hunter into hunters. Like, no, I'm the mountain's crowded enough. That's what I say.
Yeah,
but we do need to not even create there. I like to create friction with the anti-hunting industry, but it's also creating that light bulb in people's mind that maybe there's another side to the story that's being relayed to them. That's always been for the last 20 years, 25, 30 years. And so I love the billboard idea, and I love the video. I always thought, Mike, like, if we could get a Super Bowl ad, right?
Yeah.
because I don't know how many people watch Super Bowl, but it's a shitload. So,
Yeah.
like, if we had kind of what you were saying, different people pop on for 2 seconds, and my
Hmm.
favorite wild game meat is bear, and then somebody else, and then everybody talks about my favorite thing about hunting is my connection to nature, and
Yep.
just kind of roll through these different voices and different show these different sides to the human spirit that is connected to hunting, and
Yep.
and show that they are normal people. They're not just a bunch of thuggery. They're not a
Right.
bunch of savage redneck hillbilly beasts out there trying to.
Yeah.
And this is coming from a pretty savage redneck hillbilly beast, but it's not how it always is. And so
Right.
if we showed the different sides, like nobody would look at my 14-year-old daughter, almost 15 now, good Lord, um, and think that she is a hunter.
But she
Right.
is.
And but she's a
Yeah.
great hunter, and she
Yeah.
is freaking into it, man. That's what she talks about and thinks about.
She would break, like she would, like an image of a 15-year-old girl hunting, taking a bear,
Yeah.
like would blow the minds. It would just shatter so many preconceptions and
And
misconceptions
that's what we're gonna
that are
have
there,
that
which
this
is what we
spring.
have to do, which is
Yeah.
what we have to do. If the average non-hunter in Colorado knows that mountain lion meat is not only edible but preferred by those that pursue mountain lions,
Yes.
when they hear the message, when they see the ad that where Carol Baskins is saying that mountain lion's inedible, they know they're being lied to. And as soon as they know they're being lied to, they distrust the entire
Eh,
anti-hunting industry's campaign.
Is
And
that
that's
what
the
they're doing,
key.
Mike? They've got Carol Baskins doing that? Like,
She's one of the celebrity proponents. She doesn't live in Colorado.
wow.
She's one of the
See,
celebrity like talking heads for
that
for
Tiger
the whole
King guy was
campaign.
right all along, man. She's evil as all get out.
Yeah, she's one of the proponents of this whole thing. And so
Wow, I didn't
when
even know that.
yeah, so out of state celebrities, out of state money, interests, etc., and they're using the fact, they're saying mountain lion meat's inedible as a statement of fact. And if the average person hears that and they know that that alone is a lie, then they're going to distrust the rest of that campaign's messaging. And that's the key. It doesn't, we're not trying to recruit people to eat mountain lion. We're trying to recruit people to know the fact that it is edible, that we do harvest and we take this meat and we consume what we harvest, and that they're being lied to 90% of the time, if not more. They're being lied to by the anti-hunting industry. And it's
Man,
as soon as the average, Joe and Susie public know that they're being lied to, they'll start to abandon
these
those
ideas, these
interests and the ideas that they're trying to push forward.
I think that I like the way you describe this stuff, Mike. I feel like you have a real calm, pragmatic approach to it that I think would be really effective. Because again, some of this stuff I didn't know. I didn't know they were using Carol Baskins. I thought, this is how out of the loop I am, man. I thought Taylor Swift was this girl that sang songs that like teenagers listen to, and apparently she's a big ass deal, man. She's all over social media right now.
She's
And I
she
didn't
does
know.
sing songs that teenagers listen to, and therefore she's a big ass
Yeah,
deal.
I guess maybe
If
that's
we
it,
could just
right?
get all the
But
teenagers to think hunting's cool, and so and that we and if we could get all the teenagers
but
to know, and that's the other thing, I'm going to go down a rabbit hole.
go for it, man.
If we teach the children, the naysayers will die. Those
Yeah,
are not my words. I'm quoting a Huberman podcast recently. But any major social movement requires us to educate the youth.
yeah,
And the anti-hunting industry has been doing that against us
yeah,
proactively in a lot of ways, subtly for the last 20 to 40 years. We need to get fifth grade biology, the 1 week they spent on biology in fifth grade or sixth grade, we need to get 10 minutes isolating the fact that hunting is the number one mechanism that drives wildlife success in modern conservation. And then in high school, we need to be an hour or a week. Like we need to get more writing. We need to get, so that's the kids. We need to get more writing, letters to the editor, to
yeah.
express the values of hunting. Like we're so we've just we've just been out of the arena, and we haven't been playing the game because we didn't like the rules. And so the fact is the arena is there. What we need to win is the non-hunting public mind.
Yeah.
And so we've got to step in and start sharing the stories and the values, and that some of it is anecdotal, sharing the visuals and the stories to our community. Some of it is investing, putting some money in that funding with a box of ammo type of thing to enable us to put that Super Bowl ad on, because that 15-second Super Bowl ad run, in the second quarter and in the fourth quarter of that game would reach a lot of people, and it would have a lot of people going, huh, hadn't seen it that way.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the key with something like that is not to have, like, if you look, people look at me, I look like a hunter. I look at Mike, I could tell you're a hunter. Like
Well,
not that there's
a bear behind me, but
you've got a bear behind you. That's cheating, man. And so it's not that, and again, don't take that wrong. It's not you look like a hunter or I look like a
yeah,
hunter. It wouldn't surprise somebody to learn that Mike and I hunt if they just met us for the first time, right? Whereas if we had faces on an ad like that would surprise people that they hunt, I think that
like
would
a
have
15-year-old girl.
a 15-year-old girl. Yeah. And
like, whoa, what?
It would blow people's mind to see what my she's not 15 yet. Quit making her older.
Yeah.
She's only 14 for another, I don't know, 4 weeks. So no, I'm kidding. But that kind of stuff is, I think would have a much greater impact.
Sure.
Just demographics, I think, would be important with that. I guess one way to put it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is all great. So Mike, I don't want to keep you too long here, but can you talk to us about how people can start getting involved and making that needle start move a little bit from some of the solutions that we've talked about? I really like billboards. I've been talking about that for about a year or so. I really like the commercial idea, whether it's just a YouTube video that if we got 10,000 hunters to share the same video on all their social media feeds, that would achieve the same as putting some ad on TV during the Golden Girls or something.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no.
What
It's a small audience, but thank you. No, it's so like tactical thing that we need to do right now is support SaveTheHuntColorado.com. We need to support there. People need to check out that website and donate what they can. That money is going to go to the development and execution delivery of messaging that we're talking about in Colorado. There's some other resources in Colorado that I think are really valuable. The Colorado Wildlife Council produces messaging that goes out statewide that's talking about what we're talking about. And it shares a lot of the wildlife success stories that come from managed hunting in Colorado. Some great resources there. And so Howl for Wildlife wants nothing more than Colorado to be a win, a victory for us. And that means a no vote on this initiative. And it means supporting Save the Hunt Colorado.com. Howl for Wildlife, if you want to join and support Howl for Wildlife and what we're doing on this, membership is great. You can join and be a member. I think, it's $35 a year. Donations are obviously welcome. We're working on some other bigger funding mechanisms. PN Wild's got a big one going right now, which is super exciting. And there's matching donors that are stepping it up big time on that. Charles and I are starting to toy with paid media, 10 cents, 25 cents an impression type stuff that we can test out online. And then the billboard idea, I think is maybe later this year. We need to figure out like what's it cost? Like what's it really cost to run?
It depends on the billboard.
Billboards. It depends on the billboard and the location.
Yep.
Right? You want to hit a million eyeballs in Seattle, it's going to cost a couple bucks. But that's the goal. Like that's the need. And so we're working on that messaging, and there's a website in development that is speaks to the hunting as human concept. And that's going to be, it's not going to be recruiting hunters. It's going to be about the fourth R. It's going to be about the relevance and relatability so that the non-hunter understands that hunting is intrinsically human. And if they're going to do something to take away hunting, they're not taking away from you and me. They're taking away an intrinsic human value and human right from communities of all types. And I think it's important for people to know in our woke modern age that just because 4% of the nation or any, a state or whatever, just because 4% do this big game hunting thing, that's not a reason to take it away. In fact, that's a reason to protect it.
It's a key fundamental American thing to every
thing.
I'm not talking about hunting. It's
Okay.
the protection of the minority.
Yeah.
That's what a republic is, right? That's what a republic is. Everybody runs around. Oh, you hear, especially the wokesters, they're constantly saying, "Oh, they're ruining our democracy." Bitch, we don't have a democracy. This is not a democracy. If we lived in a democracy, we could put a ballot on the national election day saying, should hunting be allowed? Yes or no? And people could outvote our 4% population and end hunting like that. That's a democracy.
Like any other 4% population.
Just like any other 4%.
That's the threat.
And that is the threat. Like, I think that's roughly the same amount as, like, we have roughly 4% of the American population is Jewish. Can that be viable? We can go vote the Jews out of existence or something like that. Like, what is wrong with people? We have a republic.
And they step into the trap. Into the trap. Like,
exactly.
Only 4% of you of Washingtonians or of Californians do this. So therefore, it's like you just stepped into the absolute social bias trap of the decade, of the century, by saying because we're a minority group, because you don't like our social activity, you don't like it at a social level, you want to limit it. Like, hell no, you're a bigot. And I think more of us, we need to call them out as bigots because they are.
Oh, I do. I have been for a long time. I hope you heard that on my podcast, Mike, but that's what I've been saying for a long time is the leftists, the wokesters, those folks are the biggest bigots I know. And they don't understand the difference between a republic versus a democracy. And that's why you hear a lot of them saying, well, the popular vote is, what should matter the most. No, that's democracy. That's like what started Nazi Germany. We're talking about we have a republic. That republic is designed to protect folks like you and I and our neighbors who don't do what we do, but have something else that they do that is not necessarily in the mass majority. And so that's the point of a republic. So I hope that's clear for people. That's something that drives me crazy.
Yep.
Well, Mike, this has been, we might need to up our game, man. You and I might need to do like an update every 6 weeks or something where we revisit these topics, because I'm sick of, and this isn't you, this isn't me, but what I'm growing tired of is a lot of these conversations are being had, but not, there's a lot more conversation taking place than action. And I really am interested in helping move the needle on that end. I want to help take action.
Cool.
I will help fund billboards. I will help put together videos and whatever we can all do. Like, remember when Howl did that thing where you guys had a bunch of us that did podcasts and stuff, film ourselves talking about something, right? And they put it into one compilation.
Yeah.
That's the kind of, that's the kind of thing that will, when we get these folks that when people look at them, they don't necessarily look like a hunter. If we can get a compilation like that going and have them tell us what their favorite thing about hunting is, and those kind of compilations.
Yeah.
Put those out there. I would help fund getting that out there. You know how you can like promote a post on social media and it costs so much money, and we could pick a non-hunting demographic. I don't know. I spitball a lot. I just want to action.
You're on the right track. For $1 a day, you can feed a post into a specific audience at a specific city, with a specific set of interests.
Yeah.
And so you ask like tactically, how do we do that? But that's exactly how we do it. We use technology. We use the technology that's there to know.
That's what they do.
Oh, this person has been within a mile of Whole Foods in Denver in the last 2 weeks, and so
Mm-hmm.
therefore they'll be the one. You geofence the location, and you make an assumption about the demographic that goes to that location, and then you start feeding people ads if they step into that circle within X distance of a location, they get the ads, and
Yeah.
so we can do these things, and so there is technology. The technology will not always be a barrier for us. It won't always be a blocker. It's actually there's technology that we can use to leverage it, and our goal and plan is to start small. Yeah, it's gonna be one ad or a series of little 30-second videos that pop up into one demographic in one metropolitan area. We'll start seeing how that works, and then we'll start growing from there. But I think you'll see this happening in Colorado at scale with SaveTheHuntColorado.com and the funding that they're going to get through this national outreach and this grassroots support to win in Colorado. And I think it's most important. We're going to win in Colorado because the community is getting engaged. Donations have been received from 49 states.
Just
Yeah.
real quick, but before you go too much further here,
Yeah.
I am on the SaveTheHuntColorado.com, and there's there's a button that says donate here.
Yep.
If you guys are listening to this as Mike is finishing this up, I am going to show you how quick this is. I'm going to donate, and if you can go on and type other, if everybody listening to this just put $5 into it, like you can't even get a cheeseburger at McDonald's for $5 anymore.
Yeah.
Let everybody listening to this please consider doing this.
If they do $5, choose the $3 add-on to cover the credit card processing, please, because otherwise they only get
$8. $8.
$8.
Maybe
$8. They get 5. Credit card company gets 3.
Maybe you can actually get a cheeseburger for $8. But here's what I'm going to just kind of fill this out real quick while you're finishing this up.
Yeah.
Show people it's not that big of a deal. It's super quick and super easy.
So Monday of this week, 63 donations came in. I think Tuesday, like over 50 came in. They're getting dozens of donations a day. And like I said, 49 states have donations. The only donation that hasn't come in yet is from Hawaii. So we know there's a mule deer hunter or an elk hunter or a lion hunter in Hawaii. So we just need we need some Hawaiians to fill the gap there. And then we can say we've got donations from all 50 states going to SaveTheHuntColorado.com. Donations are coming in small. You get your 10s and your 20s. Donations are coming in huge. People are wiring $100,000 donations. Individuals, not corporations.
That's fantastic.
Not NGOs. Some of the NGOs are stepping up
I just
too.
donated, by the way.
You
That's
just
how
donate.
Quick it was.
It's that fast. So people are sending 10s and 20s and hundreds, and people are sending thousands and 5,000s, and there's been some $50,000 and $100,000 donations too. People
Dude, I don't have $50,000 to send in, but
there's people that drop big money on conservation through tags and whatnot. Mm-hmm. They're stepping in here because they know this is a value to conservation and to hunting. So it doesn't, people are giving what they can, and the metric I like to use, like I said earlier, what's the cost of a box of ammo? If we all donate the cost of a box of ammo,
and under Biden's America, or
it's less than a tank of gas, more than a latte, less than a tank of gas, and we crush this. We absolutely crush this, and then there's probably money left over in the war chest to do battle in other states as well.
I couldn't agree more. And this is how we need to take action. I love these conversations, Mike, but I get like just super antsy about the fact that so many of these conversations are had. See how worked up I'm getting? But the action behind it does not keep up. And this is where I think it's hard. You guys just saw me. I mean, it took me like 30 seconds. I typed in my name, address, and put some credit card info in there, and I just donated $20 to this thing. And if you guys can jump on listening to this, the link is in the show notes. So as you're listening to this, the link is going to be right there. Just click on that. It'll say Save the Hunt Colorado. and you could just take 30 seconds and donate $5 or $8. Do $8. So that he's right. The credit card processing fee is a big deal.
Love it.
I hate
Thank you.
those. Anyway,
I know. And then the other, you mentioned tracking this. Like we should check in. We should check in a couple months to see where we are on this. We get out of show season. There's Hunt Expos coming up. There's a great Mile High, Outdoors Expo in Denver in early April. So some big events coming up to continue the network and continue the outreach on this, where a lot of donations are coming together.
Yeah.
So we should check in. But listeners, if they want to follow what's happening like on a daily and weekly basis, CRWM on Instagram, their account's starting to crush it with updates. Howl for Wildlife, of course. I think it's Howl_org on Instagram is always at the forefront with information about these issues. So follow Howl and follow CRWM. And go to SaveTheHuntColorado.com, and we're going to win. We're going to win here, and we're going to build momentum and start making progress in other states as well, where we need it.
Just taking a bunch of notes here. So I just followed CRWM on Instagram there.
Awesome.
So guys, that's what I'm going to have in the show notes. I'll have their Instagram. I'm going to have Howl's Instagram. And then I'm going to have the CRWM website, which is SaveTheHuntColorado.com. So that's just we're going to make it super simple. Blow my mind, folks. Let's see like an actual difference take place here, and let's move the needle for a change. I've said it. I think this is like the fourth podcast I'll say this in a row, but I'm going back to that Full Metal Jacket line. This is a giant shit sandwich, and we all have to take a bite. So let's put the money where your mouth is, and let's do this, man. Let's do it. So, Mike,
priceless.
I appreciate you joining me, man. This is always a pleasure having you on the show. I really enjoy your
my favorite 2 hours today. I guarantee you that.
Me too, man.
I love it. Thank you.
So,
stay
again,
warm.
We'll put this out, and we'll see what happens, man. And
right
again. Thanks again for
rock and roll
for joining me. You made it. That's the end of the episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please make sure you're following us on Instagram at the Western Huntsman and write us a good review at Apple Podcasts. Thanks, guys. See you next time. Stay Western, and I'll see you